Okay.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Julie Mann. I'm also known as the Habit Fixer, and I love helping women regain their mojo and age well. I do that with EFT, which is a really simple tapping technique, nutrition, skincare, and digital products. So who am I talking today? Today, I'm talking to the absolutely fabulous and very, very fascinating Swanette Kuntz. If you don't already know her, she describes herself as an intuitive innovation strategist. I must get that right, Swanette. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me on your show today.
It's a pleasure. I can't wait to hear what you're going to say. And I know you're going to be talking about rebel habits. So if any of you watching or listening feel a little bit of a rebel, this is for you. And the subject is unconventional paths to personal mastery. So I'm going to hand straight over to you, Swanette.
Yeah, wow. Thank you for the introduction. And yes, it all started becoming a rebel when I was dead. I had a near-death experience when I was 8 years old. And I can remember as it was yesterday because this was such an extraordinary experience. I was in coma as a little child, you can imagine. I was lying on a bed and was still alive. And as I was in coma, the doctors didn't know what happened with me. And so they tried different things and different diagnostic. And at this moment, they thought it could be a meningitis. And so they stick in a long needle into my spinal cord to take out some liquor. And while this was happening, I could see myself from above. I could see all the doctors doing the procedures. I could even smell like the smell of disinfection. And I could see my parents were outside. They were not in the same room. I was alone there. And I was kind of drawn into the light. It was so peaceful and calm and loving that I really had this feeling I need to go there. And the next moment, I was pushed back into my body and I woke up from my own screaming because of this horrible pain of the needle in my spinal cord. And the next moment, I was in coma again. But it gave me like the sensation that there is more than just my bio body. There is something like the spirit inside of me. And since then, I'm connected to what I call the quantum field, and I'm precognitive and clairvoyant, and I also am super highly sensible. And this is like I opened my sixth sense at that age of 8. And it drove me into curiosity to see what is life about. I questioned a lot, like what are people sharing is not what I can feel and sense and see. There is something different. So I spent a lot of time being a child in, we at that time had like the open libraries where we can go in and borrow books. I don't know if this exists at this time, but yeah, perhaps still. So I spent a lot of time there and read about Egypt history because I was so fascinated about the pharaohs and how they were buried and these procedures and what they thought about the spirit leaving the body and how they had to give gifts so that in the other realm, the pharaohs had enough for their wealth. And I was curious about the human body. So I started my education in medicine, working in clinical microbiology for some time to understand how like parasites work in the body and how people can become healthy. And then during this age, I was also kind of an activist. At that time, I come originally from Germany. There was this discussion about putting the leftover material from the atomic plants into landfills. And of course, this will toxify our planet. And so we were there at protest, stopping all these containers coming to Germany and being put there in the earth. And so I started again to understand more about how our planet, our living planet works. And I studied chemical environmental technology to really go deep into how can I help with technology this planet to survive. So I don't know if people can understand if you really have this very strong connection to life per se, then you will feel the energy of humans. You will feel the energy of the plants, the energy of animals, and even the energy of your environment. And this is what I'm also sensitive to. So if someone comes to me and says, you have to behave in a certain kind of way, I always have like a catalog of criteria that I check in. And this is this the truth you're telling me? Is this for the good, for humanity, and for the planet? What will be the consequences that are behind the veil? Like, is there something like a hidden agenda? I can feel that, I can see that. And if it is not for the best of everything, of all, then this rule doesn't apply for me. So I was, as a child and even as an adult, always very, how can I say, not very comfortable, because I questioned a lot. If someone tells me something and I feel that there is kind of a vibration behind that speaks another agenda that is not congruent to the words, then all my body reacts. It's like, oh, let me see what is it. And so I questioned authorities. I questioned if someone comes up with a rule that is like, I got this rule because my boss told me to put out this rule. I asked, okay, and your boss? Okay, got this rule again, got this rule again. So what is the source of this rule? And does it still make sense? Of course, if you drive a car in the city, it is good to have some rules. But see the rules in Germany, how people behave, and see, I'm living in Madeira Island now, how people behave to these rules now. Here, this is totally different. They are very flexible with these rules here. So it is not the same, even though the rules are the same, but the behavior is different. So being a rebel, the question is, do you obey to rules because someone set up the rules? Or does it make sense? Do you know about the origin of this rule? And does this make sense? Is this for the highest good? And if you are someone who is perhaps not super sensitive as I am, there are possibilities to make this happen. And I will share a little bit later how you can do this. Also, it is like I can kind of foresee the future. And I know people laugh at me very often because for them, it's really weird that someone can tell what is going to happen in the next future. But as I'm connected to the quantum field, I can download information. And this is, for example, like 2 weeks before the fire in Notre Dame, the church in Paris, I told a friend, the next church that will burn is Notre Dame. I can see it already as a high possibility in the quantum field. And she was like, no, Notre Dame, it's made of stone. Why would someone burn it? So 2 weeks later, she called me, did you hear the news? Notre Dame is burning. And I said, yeah, don't tell me anything that I already know. So it is like I can change the perspective. I can change what is in the quantum field bring it into this reality. The CIA many years ago used a technique called remote viewing, and it was for spying during the Cold War, what the Russians are doing, and they created this technique to get information, and they did a lot of studies. If there are people that have like the ability, like born into or brought into this world with them, to see what is at a different place happening. And I participated in some remote viewing studies to see that what I could see is one of the very precise answers they got during the study. So now I'm kind of certified woo-woo because I can really see what is happening at other places, in other timelines, in other realms. And this shows up as possibilities. It's not that this needs to happen 100%, but I can test within my body if this has a high possibility. And therefore, going this way makes sense or not. It makes sense to rebel against this or not. And another example is, so while we were called during this so-called pandemic to behave in a certain kind of way, I already knew from the first moment on when they brought out this topic, there's something else. There's something like a hidden agenda. And as I worked also for many years in the pharmaceutical industry as a clinical research associate and project manager, I know how to set up clinical trials. I do know where to find the answers and the questions as well. So I moved into the databases and took out what I could find. And this proved my sense that there was another agenda behind. And now, 3 years later, we can see this. It is now coming out into the media. So for me, it was clear I'm not obeying to these rules because I can see that it is important for humanity to rebel against this because there is another agenda. Also now, we are going into this age of artificial intelligence. We can't understand anymore, is this what we see the truth? It is created by AI. Is it created by AI as videos, as pictures, as text? You can't understand anymore if this is a true source or if it is like artificial. And as they start training like artificial intelligence with so-called synthetic data, this means artificial intelligence is learning by data artificial intelligence already created. This is like an iteration of data, which at the end will bring out data that has no truth in it anymore. Because artificial intelligence is putting together data that it got from other artificial intelligence, which got the data from other artificial intelligence. You see? So going into the future, you don't know anymore if this is true or not, if this is for the highest good of humanity or for this planet. What is the agenda with artificial intelligence? Is it in the hands of the light workers, the people who really support humanity? Or is it in the hands, I call them the warlords, the ones that have the agenda to come into power and bring slavery over humanity? So if this is going to happen, are you the one obeying to the rules or are you the one rebelling against it? Because it is about your freedom. It is about your sovereignty. It is about being your true authentic self. So will you master this right now to understand who am I? Why am I here on this planet? What is my purpose here? What am I living here for? And going into this way, is this your path you're following with the criteria? Or is it the one that someone else decides you have to go there because we put up this agenda and this agenda will not be nice? And how do you come into your strength to really step out and speak for yourself if it is not allowed anymore to speak out? Go a little bit back, like 3 years. What were you not allowed to question? And we see this like at the moment, if you put out certain kind of information in the social media, it will be deleted. There's censorship. Yeah. So are you aware about that? And are you able to speak out your truth? And there is nothing like the general truth, but it is the truth you do have because you sensed it, you did your research, you shared the information with other people, listened to their opinions, and then you made up your mind. You made up your opinion. It is not only that you have an opinion because someone told you to have this one. So I'm asking you to become the rebel in this time for humanity, for the planet, and especially for yourself. And if you are still in this feeling, oh, I can't do that, like, I'm so used to behave in a certain kind of way because someone told me there are these principles and rules, I have to behave like that. perhaps this can help you. Like, I give you a little bit of an exercise that helps me also sometimes when I'm not clear. So this exercise is bring up a consulting team. And this consulting team can be like figures from movies or from history books. Like my consulting team, for example, includes Pippi Longstrong. I don't know how this is called in English. It's Gandalf, it's Yoda, it's Lara Croft, and it's Robin Hood. So when I have a question and I'm not sure about how should I behave in this kind of situation, I ask Robin Hood. So Robin Hood, if you would be in this situation, what would you do? And I imagine this character in front of me, and it would, be like, I would fight for the poor ones. I would fight for fairness. I would fight for people being equal. Whatever this is, you know this character. And okay, so if I take in this information, how would I decide if this would be my criteria? And then I would ask Pippi, and she says, like, I make my world like I want to have it to be. Like, she is independent. She is in the moment. She is having fun. She is thinking out of the box. So she would say, like, make it, if it is good for you, if it feels fine, if it is fun, go this way. You understand this concept? So yeah, having these different characters, and you will find a lot of different perspectives about how you could behave. And this is all about my concept. I call it the metanoia mastery system, changing the perspective of mind, getting another outlook, getting another perspective on what you think is the truth, and take your decision from there, being decisive with different aspects, and always have this clear understanding that it needs to be for the best of humanity and for this planet. So, and I'm intuitive, yes. I'm for the innovation, yes. I'm a strategist, absolutely, yes. So it's my sixth sense. I'm here to understand what is going on in technology in the future. And I'm the engineer and the medical. So I have all this integrated into me for my own personal mastery.
Oh my goodness, Swanette, obviously we've spoken before, but I had no idea about your story of when you were 8 and that experience. So that's extraordinary. I love actually that I didn't know anything about what you were going to talk about today. I just trusted that whatever it was, it'd be absolutely fascinating. And it is. There will be people who are watching, who are listening. Some people will be curious, of course. Some people will be absolutely, yes, I know what you're talking about. I can feel it. I feel like that, I sense that. And other people who completely disagree. So this is a totally unrelated question, really, but what would you say if there's someone who maybe has sensed that there's something else, that perhaps there is another dimension, and kind of feels like they're not like everyone else, and can really resonate with what you're saying? And this has happened perhaps at a young age, or in an environment or community where it's not really accepted. What would be the habit that you've adopted to enable you to be able to be who you are, which is unconventional, or woo-woo, as you call it?
Yeah, so one thing is, of course, find your tribe. Yeah, find the people who understand what you're talking about. I believe that most people would think that what I'm sharing is kind of woo. Yeah, that I'm kind of the oracle. Yeah, perhaps. But if you run into people who understand about the quantum field, even about quantum physics, they know about the Akashic records, which are the library of the soul. They know about other entities, like other species in this galaxy. If you speak with these people, you're totally normal. If you speak with people who are in their little box and never had even access to their soul, to their inner wisdom, of course, for them, you sound like you're totally crazy. But yeah, because at the moment, people, often people don't have the access. Yeah, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Yeah, science is following up with what spiritual people already telling. They now find the proof in quantum physics, for example. And yeah, now they can understand how like particles are connected in different places. Yeah, so it happens already. So it is just another access to this kind of topics, to the topics of science. And if you surround yourself with people who are in the advanced science and people who are in spirituality, for them it's normal. So speak with them.
Yeah. So when you were 8, Swanette, how did you find your tribe? Did you look for your tribe? I mean, how was it for you? Did you feel
No,
on your own with it?
yeah, I was always not by my own, but I felt like I was different. Yeah, so because I could see things other children couldn't see, for me it was, yeah, why can't they? And for them, I was like, she is a crazy girl. So I had friends, of course, but I was bullied a lot during my time in school, and really was, yeah, no, it was an experience, for example, that some children hold me by the arms, and one started to draw things on my forehead, like crazy things, and I couldn't wash it off, and so I had to run around in school with the thing on my, with this drawing on my forehead. So these were the things that happened. I was bullied a lot. And when I got a little bit older, as a young girl, I went into drugs to shut this all down, to not feel this anymore. But it is like, no, it is coming through, and I know that I have these gifts, and now I'm helping people to yeah, step into their own gifts, to master their own personality, to really find their path and understand what are they here for? What is the purpose? You are here on this planet. And more people are awakening. And so now I have my tribe, of course, but being a young girl, it was a difficult time, I would say.
Yeah, sounds like it. Yeah, and we all need to have some sense of purpose and meaning in our life, don't we? So thank you ever so much, Swanette. I could absolutely talk to you forever. There's so many questions that I have. If you have questions for Swanette, get in touch. All her links will be below this video, and reach out and say hello. Swanette does so many things, and it's well worth looking at her website and finding out more. My links will be there as well. If you've been curious, fascinated, enjoyed this recording, then please, why not subscribe? And if you've really loved it, then please share it with someone else who may be a little bit curious too. So once again, Swanette, thank you so much for being my guest today. And thank you everyone else for watching.